It's Jai452 yet again here in the land of cosplay, and today my special guest is Blair Flocker. So, hi Blair, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. So, we're just gonna, before we jump right in, I just want to say if the internet goes out, I will pause the interview and we will try and get it back as soon as possible. Luckily, though, we're not having that crappy weather anymore. Yay! Because obviously, when I was recording these interviews, we were having kind of crappy weather. Well, we've kind of moved past that, so huzzah! So, first off, I'm going to ask you, Blair, when did you first start cosplaying?
Um, it would have to be almost 2 years ago now. Is when
Awesome.
I went to my first Comic Con.
Awesome. Do you remember what your costume was?
Yes. I remember having to make it myself. It was Joker. Um,
Ah,
Joker from Batman. The I could never find a purple tailcoat, so I had to get a tailcoat and then fix it to be purple myself, um, using dye and fabric paint. It took ages to get it right, to match the trousers that I had. And I had a blue shirt on and a purple tie, uh, and then I painted my face and did my hair. It was a really fun experience. I had never been to a Comic Con before, and I thought, why don't I get my good friends James and Alan and go to a Comic Con this year? And we did, which was a really good experience, and we've been trying to go to as many as possible ever since.
awesome. Um, who or what inspires you to cosplay?
I don't. I do have some inspirations of cosplay.
Mhm.
My main cosplay for myself is the Joker. So a big inspiration of cosplay would be Harley's Joker.
Mhm.
Um, I think he's fantastic with everything he does. All the when he recreates the comic images perfectly. It's something that I'd also love to do as well, is recreate these amazing images that straight out of the comic books. It's Yeah, I would say he's a big inspiration for me, as well as when it first came to cosplaying, I didn't really look to anybody else for inspiration. I mainly looked at comics, films, uh, and animation and stuff, and from that is where I got most of my inspiration for my cosplays.
Awesome. Um, so what has been the most challenging cosplay that you have ever done to date?
Ooh,
You,
um,
let me break this question up a little bit more. Um, because in cosplay, a lot of cosplayers tend to look at it from two angles. You've got the making of the costume,
yeah,
which can be quite challenging, and then the performance side, because sometimes some cosplays require a little bit of acting.
yes, of course.
So, from an acting standpoint, which has been the most difficult, and from a creation standpoint of making the costume, which has been the most challenging for you?
I would I would say making the costume. Um, yeah, it's a bit difficult making it. Not too much money and whatnot,
Hmm.
but it. But once I've got it, I do find it. Well, I could say I find it easier than others to get into a character. I'm an actor myself. I'm studying it at the moment at Napier,
Hmm.
but but you can never be too sure about the acting as well, because when you go, I remember going to Comic-Con as the Joker, and a lot of people have their ideas of how they should be, and you don't want to disappoint anybody with it. But when I was at Comic-Con and I was bringing this character to life, it was good seeing all the positive feedback everybody was giving me. My favourite thing about going to Comic-Con is the kids. When kids see all these characters come to life and they become so animated and love all this. It's really good, a good atmosphere.
Awesome. So what's been the most challenging costume that you've ever made? Like, which one have you kind of made that you've just kind of thought, oh my gosh, I have no idea how I'm going to do this?
I think it was my first one. I think it was Joker, because I really wanted to get the purple tailcoat look from classic comic books. So trying to find a purple tailcoat was the hardest thing, which I still can't find one. But so I had to buy a separate tailcoat. And when I bought it, I was like, okay, I'll get purple dye and I'll dye it. And when I dyed it, when I tried to dye it, it wouldn't dye because the dye, it was 100% polyester and it wouldn't dye. So I had to go and buy a lot of purple fabric paint and spend a couple of hours spraying it down to get it looking all right. And I didn't spray it so much that it was completely, I mean, it is completely purple now, but the look it has, when you look at it close, it does look quite patchy, which I quite liked. I quite liked the idea of having it looking a bit scruffy, as if he's made it himself and he's been out, causing chaos as he does. So I liked keeping it that way.
Okay, so the next question I have for you is a general one to not just yourself, but every kind of cosplay that you've either seen or had a hand in making. In your opinion, what is the most difficult thing or character to cosplay as?
Ooh, difficult for someone to cosplay as a character.
Well, thing or character, because in cosplay we've got more than just characters.
A huge range of things. It's difficult to pinpoint it. Which I see people have made, which I'm in awe at. See people in these huge big bodysuits that they made themselves, and I'm all like, oh, I wish I could make something like that. It was but there's so many things. I see people in costumes that they've made themselves from animes, and
I think one of the ones for me that always tends to get me. There was actually two for me. One of them was something that I'd seen at last year's Filming Comic-Con in Glasgow. There was a guy who was dressed up as a Wookiee, and he was walking about. Now, I didn't know that he was actually walking about on stilts.
Yeah.
I was just surely looking at his costume and going, wow. Because that is one hell of a costume. So for me, whenever I see something like that, I think, wow. The other thing that I've kind of looked at recently is the kind of mech suits, like the armor type suits.
I remember bumping into a man who was dressed as a space marine from Warhammer 40,000, and and it was amazing. I think he made it out of some kind of foam, but it was this huge bodysuit, and he had this massive bolter, and it was really cool to see. And I was like, it seems like things like that, like you say, the Wookiees and stuff, are the most difficult to pull off, and people do it so brilliantly as well.
I think one of the more amazing ones I've seen in terms of like body armor was an Iron Man who
Yes.
had like you know the circular part he has in the center of his chest.
Yeah.
Um, One that I had seen actually like lit up, and I remember sitting there thinking, how did you manage this?
Yeah.
Like obviously there's a way that he's done it, because I've seen
Yeah.
people do the kind of Tron outfits,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, that it has to be a similar method that you're using, the people in the Tron ones are using, but I was like, oh, I can't wrap my head around that. It's
Yeah.
insane.
It was an Iron Man I seen as well who really made me awe at him. He was able to move parts of the armor like as if it was, getting ready for him to fly or something. It was very impressive. Um, and I constantly wonder of how he did it, trying to work it out as well. Yeah.
I always feel like I've worked on the stage before, and I know how hot it can be under stage lighting. Um, and that's just in plain, like, almost not exactly everyday clothing, but almost everyday clothing.
Yeah.
It can get incredibly, incredibly hot. And when you put yourself in something similar to like an Iron Man suit,
Yeah.
even if it's just made of foam, still being under
Okay.
a stage light can be extremely hot.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
I'm never ever gonna forget this, but I remember seeing an Iron Man just like open the lid to his helmet,
Hmm.
and the amount of sweat that was dripping off this guy was like insane.
Yeah.
So whenever I see somebody that's wandering about like that, I feel incredibly, incredibly sorry for them.
Yeah.
Um, and the flip side to that, there's a kind of funny story to this. I remember seeing a girl wandering around dressed as Bombshell Harley,
Oh.
and it was like the actual kind of outfit, so it's like the hot pants, the
Hmm.
bomber jacket, and then the swimsuit bikini top thing.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to my cousin that I was with at the time, I was like, that girl is going to be freezing. She's going to
Yeah.
wander about the entire day, and she's going to be so, so cold. After seeing this Iron Man guy, I was like, I bet you he would just kill to switch places with her for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
you know?
Of course.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's kind of here and there. Um, when you're doing a cosplay event, what is the one thing that you're most excited for? And what is the one thing that is the most nerve-wracking for you?
Um, I'm most excited for seeing everybody else and their cosplays and seeing them all come together in this one place and bringing these characters to life, seeing um, other people's uh, ideas and all this life coming together. And I remember seeing this cosplay of Scarecrow,
Hmm.
and the way he made part of the costume, I would never have thought to do that. So it's amazing. That's the thing that I love most is seeing how people have done it, seeing how people do it, and it's really really impressive, and I really enjoy it.
Awesome.
what I find most nerve-wracking would be not letting people down with being a character, and if and not and also not getting too into character to offend people, because there are characters out there which are very offensive.
Mm-hmm.
I remember at Edinburgh Comic Con last year, I was Deadpool dressed as a pirate going to Comic Con. So I got called Pirate Pool for most of the day, and it was really fun. But I kept down on being Deadpool's level of inappropriate and whatnot. I kept my highest level of photobombing people. I remember because of where it was set in the dome, there was a higher up bit in front of the cafe and a lower bit where people were at, and someone was getting a photo, but I was up high, so I hung myself upside down to photobomb them, which was really fun. I photobombed so many people that day. I think I'm in everybody's albums. It was no, it's really fun to be in these characters, but I'm always careful about stepping over bounds. Never want to offend people.
Which out of the two kind of Comic-Con events do you prefer? Because there are like two types of Comic-Cons. There's the really big annual ones, the ones like the Film and Comic-Con, which used to be Collectormania, and then
MCM and
yeah,
whatnot, yeah.
and then there's the smaller ones, like the local ones to your local area.
Yeah.
Which one out of those two do you prefer? And also, which out of the two would you recommend somebody who's completely new to A, cosplaying, and B, Comic-Con in general, going to first?
My first Comic-Con was MCM, but when I did Edinburgh last year, I preferred Edinburgh. It was in a smaller space,
Mm-hmm.
but there was something about it being in a smaller space which made it a wee bit different. A lot of people were a lot friendlier. Not saying that people weren't friendly at MCM. What I mean is, people got to know each other more. I made a lot of friends at Edinburgh Comic Con, which I did meet at MCM, but never got to talking to. But there was something about its closeness, and it was Edinburgh Comic Con's second year. It's only been around for 2 years, so I think it's it being new to the whole big Comic Con thing was different, but the way they went through it was really good, and their cosplay competition was very friendly. My friend Des was presenting it, and everybody going on stage it was really fun, really good. Everybody's interactions were just amazing.
Okay. I'm just going to pause real quickly, so we'll be right back, guys.
Back.
And we're back. So, the next question I have you were answering about the big and small Comic-Cons, so you were saying that you went to Edinburgh Comic-Con,
Yeah,
and it was in its second year?
yes, and it's second year. I would recommend going to a smaller Comic Con, like a local one, like Edinburgh was, just because the feel of it was more intimate, more friendly. If you're not used to big ones, but I would definitely also recommend going to one of these bigger ones. Just jumping right into the deep end. And it's once you've done one, you just want to do them all.
I know.
Yeah, they're just so fun and so lively. It's fantastic.
You're saying like once you do one, you want to
Yeah.
do them all. Um, that was the exact feeling I had after going to Comic Con on the 22nd of August last year. Um, I went up with my cousin, and although he had a great time, he told me it's not something he could do all the time.
Mhm.
And I said, "Are you kidding me? Like, if I had the money, I'd be going here again tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
I would live with this Comic Con. I would travel with them." But then I can realize it's not a traveling thing. You know, like
Yeah.
it's in the one area, and it's
Yeah.
um. So, but I did manage to meet a really good friend of mine, and we've started going to the smaller Comic Cons in the Glasgow area. And I have to admit, I love the big one, but I love the
Yeah.
smaller one that little bit more
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it's more intimate and I can get to talk to people and I can go off and do so many different things without losing touch of where my friends are because people don't seem to realise, but when you're at the bigger Comic Cons, it's held like in an arena
Yeah.
near enough, and if you blink, you can lose track of your friends really, really easily.
Yeah. Definitely.
Um, so it's much better going to a smaller one, in my opinion, if you're wanting to talk to people. Not that you can't talk to people in the big one, it's just it's less likely that you'll get a chance to sit down and really have a conversation with them. So have you ever, when you've been at either a big or small Comic Con, have you ever entered into their cosplay competitions? And if so, have you ever won anything?
Um, I entered the Edinburgh Comic Con competition last year. Um, I didn't win anything, no, but
Hmm.
but it was a really fun experience. I went in with my friends as a group cosplay. Um, I was the Joker, and I had made a prison jumpsuit.
Story.
Yeah, I was in a prison jumpsuit, and they had me handcuffed. So we got onto the stage, and they were like, "Oh, we have a group." So they talked to us about it all, and when they talked to us, we all answered in character. They're like, who are you? What's your name?" And he was like, and my friend Alan was like, "My name is Hugo Strange." Okay, and it was really fun. And then just before we were meant to get off stage, I put the handcuffs around my friend James, who was a Arkham security guard, and started to try and break free. But then, uh, but then we were stopped, and Commissioner Gordon was going to arrest us, and we started backing off. But we were backing off the wrong side of the stage where there was no way off. So then Des, the presenter, goes, "You can't get off that way. You have to go this way." So then I had my friends restrain me and take me out. But as soon as that was done, I got down and I said to my friends, "Do you think I'll be able to go on again?" And they were like, "You should do that. It'd be a Joker thing to do." So I was like, "Okay." So I went round the back and I bumped into my friend Richard and B,
Hmm.
and I stood there, and then I started to take off the jumpsuit, and my friend B was very surprised. She was like, "Why is he stripping?" But underneath the jumpsuit, I was wearing my tailsuit. So I took that off and then went back and on the stage. Uh, so as I joined them, I went up on stage, and Des was like, "Not you again." It was like, "So you broke free already?" I was like, "Yes, yes, indeed." It was no, it was very fun. The crowd was going wild. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Um, Okay, so now we're going to do a little thing different before we move on with the last kind of couple of questions.
Okay.
Can you give me your top 5 funniest moments when in cosplay? Or at a Comic Con?
Yep. I'll take getting off the wrong side of the stage as one of them. Definitely. I remember being at my first Comic Con. There was a small boy getting a photograph with a Batman. So I popped my Joker head above the Batman's head and smiled to photobomb it. And straight afterwards, the dad comes up to me and says, "Thank you, that's fantastic," and showed me the photo. And it was brilliant. It was just Batman and this little kid dressed as Batman, and in my head popping up above. It was really fun. I remember being Pirate Deadpool and stealing the Doctor's scarf and a bazooka from someone else.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. I also remember being at Edinburgh Comic Con. My friend Richard was Loki, and he came up onto a bit high above everybody and started doing Loki's speech from the Avengers. And he was standing up there just going, "No!" And everybody was like, "Make me!" It was really funny. And then eventually he was defeated and walked away. It was that was good.
You know what I think would be funny at that point? Like, if I had if I was in that situation, and if I was doing my Harley character, I'd probably walk past them and say something like, "If that didn't work for Skeletor, it's not going to work for you." And just like keep walking. Because if he was standing there screaming "No," it would just make me think of that old He-Man movie.
Yeah.
The one that Courtney Cox is in. And at the end, Skeletor's like screaming at the guy playing He-Man, like, "No!" I would just be like, "Yeah, it's not. If it didn't work for him, it's not working for you."
Yeah. Oh no. Oh, that would have been brilliant. Yeah. Oh yeah. That would be really good. Another one. Oh, let me think. Yeah, another one would be joining the queue for MCM in Glasgow just last year. I was Jared Leto's Joker.
Yes, I've seen pictures of this.
Yes. So I had no top on, and people kept asking me if I was cold, but I really wasn't. Inside, it was boiling. And everybody else was in these big suits and getting all sweaty, and I was fine. Nice and cool. But I remember joining the queue, and there was these people who were shadows, and they were going around, just copying people. They were just in these black morph suits, and they had shadows written on them, and they were just going around copying people. And this guy comes right up to me in the queue and goes like this. So then I do it as well, and then we start doing some weird crab walk down the queue. It was and stuff. It was no, that was really fun. Oh, and one more. I had one. Would be the kissing jokey, is what we call it. The photograph of before everybody went on for the cosplay competition at Edinburgh Comic Con, and it's me and my friend Richard as Loki, and the snapshot is me kissing him, and it's just called the kissing jokey, which I just find a very funny thing. I remember remember he got engaged recently. So and his wife Alexis is also a good friend. And when they got engaged, I was like, I thought we had something special. I just posted that picture, and it was no, it was really good. It was really fun.
Well, I'm just gonna say on that note, like, there you go, guys. Hashtag Joker and Loki, the kissing jokey.
The kissing joke.
So there you go, guys. Hashtag jokey. Okay, so you've obviously been doing cosplay for some time now. What kind of opportunities has cosplay presented for you? Like, what kind of things have you done in addition to cosplay or in relation to them?
My friend B, I met her at Comic-Con, and she invited me to go to a hospital as a character for Christmas, and we'd give the sick kids hospital, we'd give them presents. So I donned my SpiderMan suit and joined her, and it was a fantastic experience, a fantastic one. The kids were great. Having Spider-Man come in with a Jedi to just before the Star Wars film comes in, and giving them presents was something else. It was I really enjoyed that day. It was really good.
I'm sorry. I'm being reminded of a line from oddly enough from Courtney Cox. She's
Of course.
she kind of says, do you remember the line where she's with Ross and Chandler and Ross's son little Ben, and they're trying to get Ben interested in Hanukkah.
Oh yeah, and Ross is is the holiday armadillo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just when you were mentioning about Spider-Man and the Jedi, I was like, I wonder if there was any point when a nurse had to take you guys aside and say, okay guys, I'm just going to go and have a word with Spider-Man and the Jedi, and then say, there's a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Yeah, no, there was quite a lot of nurses where we walked. The nurse would be like, "Oh my lord, there's a Jedi and Spider-Man." What? It was like they looked at us for a wee bit, and we're just like, "What?" they were very very surprised to see us, but they were happy to see us as well, so it was good.
Awesome. What has been the most kind of like rewarding moment you've ever had while in cosplay? Like the kind of moment that just really gets you like there,
Oh,
right in the heart.
I've had I've had a couple of moments, but there's two that stand out for me.
Mhm.
The first one was
Mhm.
at my first Comic-Con. I was once it was over on the Sunday, so I was there for the full weekend. Once it was over on the Sunday, I was waiting on my train to get back home at Glasgow Central.
Mhm.
I was sitting in Burger King, and there was a little girl in the table just across from me, and she keeps looking at me. So I wave at her, but then she comes over to my table and she says, "Were you at Comic-Con?" I was like, "Yes, I was," and she says that she was there too. And I asked her if she enjoyed herself, and she said that she did. So what I did was I got out my last Joker playing card and wrote a message which escapes me what I wrote, but it was something like from Mr. J, and I gave the card to her, and her face lit up so much. She was very happy to get it, and she ran back to her parents with it, and they just said thank you to me. So it was
Awesome.
that was a really nice moment. The other time was I was in the hospital as Spider-Man, and there was a a sick wee boy in scheduled for an operation, and he really liked helicopters, and we had a helicopter. I had a helicopter in the back, and he really liked SpiderMan too. So his parents asked me to go in and see him because they were there. So I went in to see him with the helicopter, and I gave it to him, and he was so happy. He was so happy and so positive, and it was a fantastic moment to see this kid just so happy to see this character come in and help. Yeah, it was really nice.
Awesome. So let's move on from the kind of heartwarming moment to top 5 weirdest things that have either happened to you while in cosplay or that you've seen happen.
It's all just so weird. I remember I did a lot of weird stuff as well, because people were like screaming, "That's so weird." So it was fun. But I remember being Jared Leto's Joker, and I was just walking for photos, but I was just walking, and I was like, looking at the stalls, and then this random girl turns around, dressed as Harley with this massive bat, points at my face and goes, "There you are! I've been looking everywhere for you." And I was like, I just froze with my hands up. I was like, "Don't shoot, okay?" But she had just heard so much about me that she needed a photo, so she grabbed me, and we got a photo, and it was really surreal, but it was really nice.
Awesome. I actually remember a kind of instance like that. For me, I was just kind of I was at the big one, the Collectormania one, and I was just kind of like wandering from one end of the Brayhead Arena to the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my mallet with me, and my mallet was not secure at the time. Like the two halves of the hammer top, well, the head top weren't secure, so the bottom half had fell off. So I had to like try and reattach it really quickly again, and my cousin like walked on ahead of me, and I was like, "You jerk!" I'm here in costume, and I've got this massive mallet, and I'm carrying bags that are mine and yours. A subtle hint, everyone who's watching, if you're having somebody else with you who's not in cosplay, get them to carry the bags.
That should be their punishment.
It's totally their punishment.
For not being,
In fact, it's why you take somebody who's not going to cosplay with you.
Of course.
So that you can just give them your bags.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like catch up with them, and I get stopped by this guy, and he said, "Oh, can I take your picture?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Yeah, well, my cousin's gone, so I'm not going to stop him to tell him, here, take my bag." And I see this girl walking somewhat close behind him, and she doesn't photobomb or anything. Like, he takes his picture of me on my own, and then he says, "Oh, can my girlfriend get a picture with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, where is she?" And then I see the girl that was walking behind him come up towards him, and she's dressed in this kind of what I can only describe as a kind of like Las Vegas showgirl kind of outfit.
Oh, okay.
And when I seen it, I was like, why is she, like, who is she dressed as? And I thought, okay, it has to be a character that I don't no. So she comes and she poses next to me, we get like 3 or 4 photographs done, and she tells me, oh, I really love your Harley outfit. You don't see many guy Harleys. And I was like, thank you. And it wasn't until we were driving home that I was thinking, like, I spent a lot of time thinking about who she was. And by the time we got home, because like we're an hour drive from Glasgow, I was like, okay, I need to like just give up, because obviously I'm not going to figure it out. And it wasn't until I was speaking to the guy on Facebook that he told me, because I said to him, hey, who was your girlfriend dressed as? Because like to me she looked like a Las Vegas showgirl. No offense, And he's like, oh, none taken, She was actually dressed as Zatanna. And I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
An interesting, rare character that you hardly ever see. And I then asked him, can she speak backwards? And he was like, no, she can't speak backwards. Ah, damn it. Because that would have been great if I could have heard her speaking backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of surreal, because like you do get those kind of costumes that you know them.
Yeah, but
you just don't recognise them.
Yeah. I entirely get that.
I just think that's incredibly weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your opinion, what is the best and the worst thing a new cosplayer can do when they're getting ready to go to any kind of Comic-Con or any kind of cosplay event?
Well, the worst thing to do would be the worst thing to do would probably be have faith in what you're doing, as well as just don't panic about it either. Because when you go to these events, I remember I was scared about how my costume was, if it was all right. But being there, everybody's so nice, and so many people ask for pictures and stuff, and everybody gives you compliments. It's really nice. So it's really, don't worry about how it looks. Just go with it. Go for what you got, because either way, you'll still look awesome. Just don't show up in just a t-shirt.
That was actually one piece of advice I was given before I went by a friend of mine who's been to Comic-Cons but never in cosplay. He told me, be prepared for people to come up to you and stop you and ask for photographs. And I have to admit, that is the best piece of advice I personally think that you can get when you're going to a Comic-Con in cosplay, is be prepared for random people to come up to you and say, can I get a photograph with you, or can I get a photograph of you?
Yeah, definitely.
For somebody like who was new at it, that big Comic-Con, I got stopped like every 10 or so steps I took. People stopped me and asked for a photograph, and I was actually live streaming from that event, and while I was live streaming, I noticed a few people taking pictures of me as I was like standing there talking, and I'm like, okay. So I'm just going to ask you, can you give us a hint, or tell us 3 outfits that you're going to do this year?
3 outfits that I'm going to do this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or 3 cosplays that you're going to do this year?
Yes. The plan so far is I want to do Kylo Ren from the latest Star Wars movie.
Awesome.
The Flash, specifically Barry Allen.
Hmm.
Uh,
From the TV show or from the comic book?
I'm gonna try and amalgamate the two. See what I can get out of several inspirations, because his outfit is very iconic, and it's usually always very similar.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple of outfits which are a bit different, which I want to try to take elements from them and see if I can put it into my one. Yeah. Ah, nice. I have Reverse Flash up in my room, actually. Ah, that is cool. Yeah. And my friend Kirsty is actually she makes her own cosplays and all the outfits, and she asked me to she asked me if I wanted her to commission something for me, and I said, well, there's a couple of things, and but what she wanted as a project, as well as I wanted, is the latest picture of Jared Leto's Joker with his long purple coat. I'm going to work with my friend Kirsty on trying to make that for next Comic-Con. I can have it for, yeah. So
Awesome.
I look forward to that.
Okay, so lastly, before I turn over to you, is there any advice that you would give to somebody who would like to cosplay but is a little unsure where to kind of start?
If you'd like to cosplay, just think of a favorite character, really. I remember thinking, which do, and I thought, well, my favorite villain is the Joker, so why don't I go for that one? So I did. But if you don't want to do your favorite character, you can easily find something very basic, and but do it very well. My friend James' first cosplay was Fred from Scooby-Doo, which was really basic, really nice. So it's you can make something great out of very, very basically. It doesn't have to be something. You don't have to find all these big, fantastic things. If you can make something basic, but make it work really well, then that's really what counts as well.
Would you say that props play a big part in cosplay?
Props can, yes. Props can definitely make a big part in cosplay. Like you say, a baseball bat or a mallet is a thing that Harley Quinn is often seen with. So people a lot of the time make them, buy them, and a lot of mallets around the place.
Because you were talking about James having done Fred.
Yeah.
And how that's a very basic, easy to do cosplay.
Yeah.
Well, easy-ish, you know.
Well, easy-ish, you have to have
if you have the style of clothing, do.
Yeah.
Or if you know where to get the style of clothing, it's easy to do. But a friend of mine was considering doing a character called Max Caulfield from the video game Life is Strange. And she's your everyday kind of teenager. So you'll see her running around in jeans and a t-shirt and a grey hoodie. And that is really easy to do. But he was asking me, where would I get one of those kind of cameras that looks kind of old, but it's like an instant photograph. And I was like, I have no idea where you would get a working one of them,
Yeah.
because the film for them now is extremely rare. I said you could try getting a one that isn't working and just use it like a
Yeah.
prop. But it's still the case of having to find one that's to the style that you want. But Max isn't just seen with that camera.
Yeah.
She's seen with a messenger bag, and those are
Yeah.
easier to get than a video camera, or not a video camera, but a camera.
Yeah.
So I would have said to him, go with the easier prop over the more difficult to get prop.
Yeah.
Would you advise the same kind of thing when it comes to props?
Yeah. Especially if it comes to lack of money, finding props. If it's a prop which definitely defines the character you are, then of course that would be a big part of the cosplay. And things like cameras, charity shops are always our friends. If you never have a lack of vintage stuff in there, but yes, if a prop is what the character is
Known for,
yeah, very recognizable from their prop, then I would suggest that yes, the prop would be a good place to start.
You just said there about charity shops, so I'm going to expand on that.
Yeah.
Because nobody has really mentioned charity shops in these interviews, so I'm kind of glad that you have. Charity shops, like Blair has just mentioned, you'd be amazed at what some people can get from a charity shop and just alter and change to what they need. A friend of mine actually got a purple jacket from a charity shop, and due to that he altered it a little. Due to that he was able to do his Joker that he wanted to do, and I think, don't quote me, but the jacket had tails on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was it was a very dark purple to it, so it wasn't like your
Right.
well, I've actually got one here. It wasn't like this kind of purple.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm so lucky that I've got like a little bunch of DC things just off camera here that I can grab. So yeah, guys, like, don't have any affinity about going into a charity shop and seeing what they've got on offer that could help you out. So lastly now, I'd like to turn over to you, Blair, and give you the opportunity to tell us what kind of groups that you're a part of that are in a relation to cosplay, and where our viewers can get in touch with you if they have any further questions.
Okay. We don't have a specific group, but my friends and I cosplay together a lot. I always find it helpful if you've got friends who cosplay as well and you want to do a big group cosplay, then they should always be up for it, and then you can create this thing. Just always pitch ideas to friends and whatnot. As well as in Edinburgh Comic Con this year, my friends and I will probably be doing Suicide Squad, like as much as we can anyway, and so it's good to talk to friends about things like that, so you can maybe my friends and I every now and then we'd like to put on a little show, if just entertain people, like like I said about Richard as Loki doing a little Neil speech, something like that. Joker running around and Batman chasing after him. Just things like that. It would.
If I ever meet Richard, you have to get him to do the Neil speech so that I can just walk past him and go, if it didn't work for him, it's not going to work for you.
It won't work. Yeah, of course. I'll definitely do that. And to get in touch with me is just blairflucker@gmail.com. It's easy.
Awesome.
But my advice for all cosplayers is just do what you want and don't feel as though that you are you have to stick to a certain. There are no limitations. Is what I'm trying to say. There are no limitations when it comes to this. You can be whatever you want to be.
That's a really good thing to say. So it really is the sky's the limitation. Sometimes money does come into it, so be mindful of how much money you are spending.
Always be mindful of finances.
Yes, finances. Although we say that the sky's the limit, be aware of your finances, guys. But as Blair is also saying, you can also be very detailed in your costume, or not so much.
Yeah.
Matter.
If you can easily make a great cosplay out of basic pieces. My little sister, she did Poison Ivy at MCM Comic Con, and she did it very basically. She just had a green leotard and a burgundy shirt. Burgundy shirt as a reference to the Arkham Asylum look, and the green leotard as reference to the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just painted vines on her hands and legs, and got hairspray and did her hair red. And when it came to the Comic-Con, there were a couple of Ivies there who had these fantastic outfits, these fantastic made leaves and stuff and whatnot. But there's something about Iona, my sister, which made her.
Sorry, what did you say there?
Iona, my sister.
Oh my gosh, that's kind of shocking because and this is a shameless plug. Our artificial intelligence on iGame Online.
Yeah.
Her name is Iona.
Oh my.
So there you go.
I'll have to pick up my sister about that. Yeah, but there was something about her costume and her cat and what she brought to the character, which made it a lot different. And I won't say better, but there was something about it which was very powerful about her character, even though it was such a basic look.
Mm-hmm.
There was something about it which stood out from the others.
For me, whenever I've seen a Poison Ivy, it's somewhere between animated series and the Batman and Robin Uma Thurman look.
Yeah.
So it's either the majority I've seen, it's the Uma Thurman look, which isn't a bad look. It's a good look. But I personally would like to see more of the animated series side or more of the Arkham Asylum kind of look to them, because those are the ones that are becoming more so the Arkham series because of the success of the games. So I would say to people out there, don't be afraid to try them and mesh them together. Could be fun.
Yeah, of course.
So that's us, I think. Unless you have anything else to add.
No, that's me.
Awesome. So I'm going to take the time to thank Blair for taking the time out and